So this is they say that these are old Mishnayos. They say that these are old Mishnayos, and it's very, very like just titles. They're very terse and very concise and hard to understand what the words would mean even. And like codes. It's not a regular sentence. So we have to make a lot of periods over here. Each one is a code. And we can't even say, I think Rashi in the Mishnah, what's Rashi in the Mishnah to say? Kula Masnisa Mefarish B'Gemara. He says that Rashi doesn't explain anything even. He just says you can't read the Mishnah and wait for the Gemara. So this is the kind of Mishnah that you can't.
Why do you write like this?
Why they write like this? So later on, but maybe it's an old Mishnah then later on people couldn't remember the codes, so they made very full sentences. But I don't know, maybe speculation, I don't know. But here, just to do punctuation first. Shum Kesef, that's one halacha. Shava Kesef, another halacha. Ifnei Bezdin is another halacha. Al Piyedim, Bnei Chom Bnei Bris, we put it together. I'll translate in a minute. And Nizik Mazik V'Tashlumin. So it's all, what do they say, Chinese, like, you can't understand what the words mean. So they're just a translation. Shum Kesef means to assess, to evaluate, to assess money. Shava Kesef means valuable, worth money. If Nei Bezdin means in front of Bezdin. Al Pi Eidim Bnei Chom Bnei Bris means through Eidim that are free, they're not slaves, and they are in the bris of Avraham Avinu. That means that they're Jewish, whatever. Anashim Achal Nezek just literally means that women are included in damages. And Nizik Mazik B'Tashlumin means literally that the Nizik and the Mazik are in the payment, are to partake in the payment, which of course the Nizik doesn't partake in the payment, the Mazik has to pay, the Nizik doesn't pay. We had mentioned this before, and I think Mark now going to explain like all the riddles. It's all riddles. What does it mean?
Well, the Anoshim means if a lady damages, then she's going to give money also.
Yeah, the Chayda was to mean that the other possibility would mean if you damage a woman, if you damage a lady, then you have to pay. That they're included in the halachas of damages. They're in the parsha of the clown. Yeah, the parsha of damages. So now we take one at a time. Now the Gemara is going to explain each one. Shum Kesef. What does it mean? What does Shum Kesef mean? What does it mean that you evaluate Kesef? Like, what would that mean that you evaluate Kesef?
Yeah.
This evaluation should only be with money. What does that mean? And the Gemara explains.
Say that this cow is worth 3
tables.
Yes.
I thought so also that's what it was. The word's going to say something else. And I'm not sure what's the difference. If you say it's worth three donkeys, okay, like what's the difference? If donkeys are a market value that you could, so why not? Like, it's just a way of talking. You could say how many oranges it's worth. Like, what's the difference? I wouldn't. It's just a way of talking. Just a way of.
Unless
it's not as definite.
It's not a people. It's more subjective, maybe, or people just know.
Maybe.
People, even if it's real, but people don't feel that way.
Could be, but the Gemara's not going to say that. So it's speculation.
Kesef also doesn't have a fluctuation.
Sorry.
Kesef doesn't. The value doesn't fluctuate.
Doesn't fluctuate, but okay. But the Gemara is not going to say that, so we'll say what the Gemara says. If so, if that's the pshat, that this evaluation should only be with money, it's a Mishnah which is coming to say the same as the Brisa says, and the Brisa says it more elaborately, and then we'll understand pshat in the Shum Kesef. It says in the Brisa, Parah shezika talis v'talis shezika parah. You could learn that as one case, that they got tangled in each other, and the parah damaged the talus, and the talus damaged the parah. That he tripped on it. It could be two cases, and let's try two cases, if we may. A parah that damaged the talus, or a talus that damaged.
So why wouldn't it say parah v'talus? Shezika.
Sheziku zeh. So you want to say two cases, okay? Two individual cases. One case, a parah damaged the talus, and we could have gone further, but we don't have the other case. Or a talus shezika parah. You don't say that whatever the parah damaged the talus, so the nizik should take the parah. You lost his talus, so take the parah. Or if you lost your right, you don't say that. Ella shamanosa b'damim. You evaluate how much it's worth, and you don't just get the mazik. You might have thought that the nizik gets the mazik. I had something, you had something, and yours damaged mine, so give me yours. no matter what it is. It could be $1,000 pora and $100 talus,
Oh.
and
Let's call it even.
there's some kind of thing like that.
So then that sounds like it's one case.
It doesn't have to be. No, I don't, you're saying let's call it even when both of them damage each other. You could say also,
The way it reads, it seems like it's one case. Now I can think.
yeah, then right away you could have said that. Porsche Zika Talus, Talus Zika pora. If you say, if you want to say there's two cases, you could continue to say, in the case of Porsche Zika Talus, don't say Tetze Pora Betalis. And in the case of Talus Zika Pora, don't say Tetze Talus Pora.
Okay.
You could have said that.
Okay.
So those are two choices. Learn that it's two cases, or one case. If it, in either case, the pshat is going to be that you might say like 1 for 1. If it either means 1 for 1 means I hit you and you hit me, so even, and leave it as it is, and you go home with your damaged part. I'll go home with my damaged patalis. Or if only there was one way, so you might think that the nizik is going to get the mazik. It is different. It's not going to be the same. There's going to be different kinds of the way of thinking of it. If you say that I damaged you, you damaged me, so let's leave it the way it is. So he takes back his talus, he takes back his para. And the other way, if only it was a 1 day damage, so then it's going to be that the nizik gets the mazik. You might think that the nizik gets the mazik no matter what the value is. Your object damaged my objects, I'll take your object. Even though it's worth more, it's worth less. An object for an object. You damage mine, I'll take yours. You don't say that. You evaluate how much the damage was, and if they damage each other, you evaluate which one was more damage, and he gets the difference. You don't just say leave it as is.
Right.
So far, that's just the word shum then, right?
That's what the word shum kesef means.
We didn't get to kesef, we just got
No, we
to
didn't.
shum.
No, shum zeh lo yeh lo b'kesef. The pshat is shum zeh lo yeh lo b'kesef. That this evaluation is with money. What does that mean with money? You evaluate how much money was the damage. You evaluate how much the value of money was the damage. The value, how much the damage, how much the object was damaged, how much value, how much monetary value it went down. That's the pshat in shum kesef. It sounds like a kabbalah or something like that. That's what it means. You don't have how to turn into the words. Shum kesef. You're supposed to figure out that you evaluated with the value of money. Okay, that's what we're saying over here. The whole war is going to be like
It
that.
doesn't give a score, it just says that you should do.
Yeah, we just had difficulty what do the words mean, so we figured out what the words mean.
I mean, the logic seems to be pretty close. I mean, pretty obvious.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to have
You
a
wouldn't
meaning.
have them.
But the question is, and the Gemara says that's what the words mean over here. Shava kesef. Shava kesef means value, worth money. What does that mean? What does Mishnah come to tell you with that? Tanu Rabbanan, Shava kesef. This price is going on the price on the Mishnah to explain what the word Shava kesef means. That for some reason Shava kesef means real estate, what we call nechasim sheish lam achrayis, navlan as they call nowadays, that real estate. That's what the word Shava kesef means. And what does that mean? That the Beis Din only collects Shava kesef for some reason. It wasn't going to say why it means that. Shava kesef for some reason means real estate. Usually it's the opposite. Shava kesef means anything which is valuable money, any metalton which is worth money, not only money. But the Gemara is going to figure out why the words mean that. But first, the Gemara says the pshat is going to be Beis Din only takes real estate, paid for the damages. Now we know it's not true. We know that you're allowed to take anything. Beis Din can pay with anything. Here it says Beis Din only takes karka. But if he did, the nizik is only entitled to karka. But if the nizik went ahead on his own and he grabbed the taflim, Beis Din lets him keep it. It says a brisa, and it says that's the Mishnah. The Mishnah means to say Shava kesef means karka, and we have to understand how does it mean that, and also why should that be? It's not so that Beis Din only collects karka. They tell him pay what you want to pay, yeah, whatever you want to pay. So we have to figure out two things, and then kadam nizik. If he did take the taflim, he could keep it. But that's a Amamar. So now the Gemara goes to explain this brisa. The Beis Din only connects karka. But the first question is, where does it say that in the words? How do you see in the words Shava kesef that it means karka? The words don't mean that. Something which is worth all the money. Shava kesef, not the regular way we say Shava kesef means that it's worth money. It's worth all its money, which means something which, if you overpriced, you can't come and complain that it was overpriced. Whatever it is, it's worth all its money. So if you sold land, so other things, you sell the table. So then there's a certain certain ceiling that is not worth more than that. Right. And then If he overcharged, then it's considered that he overcharged. And if he overcharged more than it's due, so then you get the whole deal is off. But karka ain't no, because it's worth all the money that it could be. Why is that so? I'm not sure. That karka is priceless. So Shabbat Kesef means priceless, and that means
Because sometimes it's a certain piece of land. Let's say, I don't know, you want a certain place, you want a ground floor for your
You need
mother.
that
So you're
over
willing
there.
to need that.
That's over there. But it doesn't make it priceless. That means over there's also going to be there's going to be also maybe a gag even by karka. Also, it might be I think there is a gag even by karka, maybe double or something like that. I'm not sure, but that's what the Gemara takes the word so far to mean that means it's worth all its money, which would mean karka. But the Gemara,
Oh no, it's
oh no, it means overpricing.
overpriced. No.
Usury.
Okay.
So what are we saying?
So far, I was saying that the word Shabbat Kesef means that it's priceless. It's worth all its money, which is another way of saying karka. The Gemara says if Pshat is that it means karka. The question is how to fit into the words. How do you see Shabbat Kesef? It's like Kabbalah, Masorah. That's the word Shabbat Kesef means karka. How does it mean that? That was the Gemara's kasha over here,
It's
Mashma.
worth all its money and it can't be overpriced.
Right. That's a lacha that we know from someplace else. That if somebody sold karka and he priced it more than its real value, so there's no time that it was overpriced. It doesn't mean allowed to do it, but if he did do it, so he can't come and say that
Guys
he also.
willing to pay it, then.
No, if you're willing
if you
to pay
upfront.
it, so then it's no ever. If you tell you this table for $1 million, if he guy agrees, no one knows. The case is that he didn't tell him. He thought that he's getting it for a normal price, and then he comes back and says he comes takes it home, and his wife says, "What did you do? What did you do?" So he goes back and says, "This is overpriced." So usually there's you
Well,
could
the
lower
laws of Ona.
the laws of
apply
honor. Yeah, not yes, that's the way to say it. Okay. But the more doesn't like that because of other mishtaros now being lemana, that wouldn't only include karka because the halacha is a ebed or shtar. Also, if you sold it and it was overpriced, there's no din on it. So if that's what you want to say, if I shave a kesef, you mean to say karka, you didn't say it. You said something which is priceless. It doesn't have onah, which would have included karka avodim and shtoros, and that's not true. As far as what we want to say that Bezdin collects only from karka. We're not going to say Bezdin could collect from avodim and could collect from shtoros. So the Gemara is saying that the translation is not good. You still didn't before we get even to the reason why is it so that Bezin only collects from karka, which is going to be the next subject. But first, the translation didn't work yet. You can't explain that Shabbat Kesef means karka because it's worth all its value. Because Shabbat Kesef would have also included other shtaros.
Doesn't Niskaki, but it has to.
Niskak means that they are obligated to it. It means that when they go connected to it, that means that Bezin wants to collect it. They're not allowed to go to be attached. They can't attach themselves. They can't. There's a better word we found one time for this cooking by Zika over there. But I forgot exactly what the word was. But that's the idea over here that they are not allowed to take, not allowed to collect from the mazik only karka, and that still doesn't make sense. Even if we figure out the word, we're gonna have to explain that's not true. But so far the Gemara is just working on the word. How do you say that Shabbat Kesef means karka? If it's because it has no one know about the Mishra also don't have no. Something which you can acquire with kesef. It's a kinyan kesef. When you want to acquire metaltalim, so kesef is not kona. You have to give mashicha, hagba, chalipin. But the thing which you have to have kesef in order to acquire it, that's karka. So again, another way to say karka is going to be shelf kesef, not because it means it's worth money, but it means that the way that you kona it is with money. You give a shavafruta, and that's how you kona the karka.
You don't have to show. You don't have to go dwell there for a street of time.
Right?
The shave board, you don't have to sit in the land.
No,
It's on paper. You sell.
no, paper's something else. Paper's the shtar. But talking about kesef, you make a kinyan karka, you take a shavafruta, you give it to the owner of the karka now, and he gives it to you. Get that. That's the transaction. A shavafruta doesn't mean, of course, you owe money for how much you want to pay. He wants you to pay for it, but the kinyan is made with the kesef. So, and that's the way. That's how the Mishnah when it says Shabbat Kesef, you know what it means karka? Because it means that's a thing which is nikna b'kesef. Right. That's how you kedushin. But the more has a kasha, but the Mishnah Islamic nikna b'kesef, same kasha over again, mamash same kasha. That wouldn't include only karka. That include other Mishnahs also because it says over there in the Mishnah kedushin that you find them also with the kesef, even though they're not from karka. So the words again, they're going to get the word yet. El Amar Abashi Shabbat Kesef Elo Kesef Mahani Kulu Kesef Nenu. That it means that it's only worth money, but it's not actual money. Karka is called worth money, but other metaltalim is not called worth money; it's called money. Usually in the whole Shas it doesn't mean this. Usually Shabbat Kesef means, like it says in the beginning of Kedushin, Pruta or Shabbat Pruta. That means it could be something, an object which is worth a Pruta. Here we're saying a whole new Pshat. Shabbat Kesef means that it's called that it's worth money, but it's not actual money. And everything else besides Karka is called actual money. Everything else besides Karka is called actual money. When you took a table is called money. Everything else is called money. Only Karka is called worth money. A new terminology. And this the Gemara is pleased with. This the Gemara is happy with. That the Mishnah, when it says Shabbat Kesef, it means something which is worth money and not actual money. Actual money is coins and also everything else in the world. Horses are called money.
Except for
Donkeys, cars, everything's called money. Only Karka is called
Because
worth
you
money.
understand that in Chazal's time, you went to the store, you didn't bring money, you brought something else and you traded it, right?
You could. The normal way was also to bring money.
Was it cool before they had money?
Before. I don't know how long back that is. By Brahma gave that money already. By Brahma gave that money.
Already? Okay, I'm fine, take it back.
So how
But
long
it
ago
was,
did
it was
the
more today? No store will take if I bring him. If I bring someone, thing they won't trade it in. But
Right,
then
I
it was
think-
more normal. It was a normal
Yeah.
thing to go to the store and you don't have money, so you can.
You
That's
you can't take your land and bring it to the grocery store.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's a difference between Kark and everything else.
No,
I'm not making sense.
I don't know if it was like that. That's the first time in history when it was like that.
And it's not work.
Ani
That's
kula
what I'm saying.
l'tavle
You
ma'avad
can't
and b'shtar
pick up
kesef
the
minute the
bring
masilam
it to
tayinu
the store.
v'vasal
That's why
l'masam
it's-
v'zdavli. Since you can
And
move it
that's the
around.
reason that definitely it's
Okay, the
together.
question is only historically, if there was such a time that it was much different than nowadays. Okay. So the Gemara is happy with the word. We just got the translation so far. Shabbat Kesef means karka, but now the question is, what does it mean? Best doesn't only collects karka. That's which. Where are we? Ramile.
When it's worth Kesef, but it is less.
Which
Worth something, but it's not money. That we just said.
it's worth money, but it's not money. What is that? Everything besides karka. Everything besides even vodim, even though it has a din karka maybe, but since you can move it around, so it's called money. Only karka is called worth money. It's not the regular usage of the word in the whole shasi. It's okay. The Gemara got the word. Now the question is, well, so why is that so? Is that true that you only could collect damages from karka? Tana Shava Kesef, Malamed, Shein Business Kokandel, and the Chosim Sheish Lanachrais. The Brisa just said that Bezin only collects karka for damages. But Tanya Yashiv Rabbi Shava Kesef Afilu Subin. Gosh, we had this before already. It says Kesef Yashiv Labalav, and the word Yashiv is extra to tell you that you're allowed to pay anything, even brand. You want to pay brand. There's no such limitation. Only you can pay karka. So, mamish, what does that mean? That Bezin only collects karka for damages? You're right. If the mazik is still around, you could collect anything, even if you pay subin. But the yisomim, if he died, the mazik died, he was damaged, and then he died. So then you want to go to the yisomim to collect from their yerusha. So we can't collect from the yerusha, only karka. The karka is meshubed to as a lien on it for the damages that the man did before he died, or his shor did before he died. So then you can go to the yisomim for the karka. So the Mishnah doesn't mean you can't collect nizik karka. It means you can't collect from the karka, the nizik yisomim. You can't collect only karka. So what could we make just now very to find the pshat in the words now? We're going to say Shabbat Kesef means Nechasim Sheish Lamachrais. And we're going to say add on that it means not going to be yisomim. Two conditions that the Mishnah means. One that what does the word Shabbat Kesef mean? Karka, that the best only collects karka if there's yisomim. If the man died, then you're collecting from the yisomim, you're only entitled to get karka, but the rest of the yerusha, they don't have to pay the father's damages from the rest of the yerusha. But the Gemara doesn't understand. If you ask me, I'm a sefer. In the Mishnah, it's good. It says Shabbat Kesef, but the Brisa says a little different. The Brisa says that it means best only collects from karka. But it says, but if the imkadam nizik, the tafas metaltalim, maybe best and govan lo. It says at the end of the Brisa, but if the nizik did take metaltalim, so Bezin lets him keep it, and that's not true. If it would be a somim, they wouldn't let him keep it. If you ask me, am I Bezin govan lo? If it's someone somim, so then Bezin would not let him to keep it because the yisomim don't have to pay for the rest of the yerusha. How can you say someone yisomim? The answer is Bava Kamma of Nachman Shetafes Mechayim. It's not one case when it says the nizik was tofes. It doesn't mean he does grab. after the death of the mazik. If he grabbed in the lifetime of the mazik, even though Bezdin didn't get to the case yet, but the nizik went ahead and he knew that the mazik is dying, so he took some metaltalim, and then after the mazik died, he come to Bezdin, and the nizik says, "I'm okay, I got paid already. Where did you get paid? I took metaltalim," and the Yisomim say, "Metaltalim is part of the Yerusha." So he says, "No, I got metaltalim while the father was alive. When the father was alive, I'm entitled to get metaltalim." Bezdin didn't have time to pass in my case yet and send down the shliach Bezdin to collect it. So I went myself. I went to his house. I took out whatever money I needed out of Yorim, and he died.
He died first?
No, if he died first, it's too late. Once he dies, then the Yisomim automatically what?
He's not lying.
No, he's not lying. Tafas Mechaim means that he grabbed it in the lifetime of the mazik, and then Bezdin says, "Okay, you can keep it." Because since you got it in the lifetime, so you took it from the mazik, you didn't take it from the Yisomim. Once he dies, so then the Yisomim get the whole Yerusha, even if they didn't actually get it into their hands, but they already own the Yerusha, and only the Karkas Meshubit. And if he now he's going to come and grab the Talmud, Bezdin will take it away from him because it belongs to the Yisomim. So we finished the Sugya, and now we have the Pshat in the word Shalva Kesef. It means Karka, that Bezdin only collects Karka from the Mazik's Yisomim. So we go back to the Mishnah, and we have to fit that into the Mishnah over here. Shum Kesef means, the first Mishnah, Shum Kesef means that you evaluate the damages of how much value it was. You don't just say, take the mazik for the damage, like the par and the talis, that's the first Gemara. Second Gemara, Shalva Kesef, means that you are only entitled to get karka from the Yisomim if the mazik died. Next one, we go further. Fifnei Bezdin. What does that mean? Judge the case in front of Bezdin. Now, of course, if you don't have a Bezdin, so who's going to be Mechayib you? But here it says that sometimes you're going to get putter if there was something before the Bezdin. What does he explain? If he sold, he did damages, so he's chayiv to pay. But Bezdin didn't get to the case yet, and he went ahead and sold his nechasim, which means that is there a shibud on it? Which we spoke about if the mazik dies. If the mazik dies, so then it said a second ago that you can't get from the karka. You could get karka. You can get from the yisomim, and what? And could you get from the lekuchos? The Gemara says the Gemara tries. It's not going to work. That he sold his property and then he went to Bezdin. Nechosav is going to mean karka. He sold his karka and then he went to Bezdin. And what does it mean? He doesn't have to pay. He doesn't have to pay because it wasn't in Bezdin. He sold only when it comes to Bezdin. I don't have any karka anymore. But the Gemara said that means that it's not meshubed. Shvami no, this is the word's kasha now. Shvami no, but love on wachan chasav yakach bala Bezdin ain't Bezdin government on my hand. You mean to say that if somebody borrowed money, the Gemara is changing instead of talking about mazik, it talks about borrowing, but the Gemara doesn't see a difference. If someone borrowed money and then he sold his nechasim, Bezdin doesn't go to collect. Of course they do. That there's something which that's a regular shibud we had the whole time. That if it's karka, we said metaltalim not, but karka yes. So the same way by yisomim, you go to the karka. So by the lekuchas also, if the mazik damaged and then he sold his property, the karka, and then they go to Bezdin, of course Bezdin will go and look up the lokeach and say you got to give it back because there's a shibud on it. Ella prata Bezdin et yotos, a new pshat. The more it falls off of this pshat, the more it tried, didn't work. So the pshat is prata Bezdin et yotos. It means that you have to have a Bezdin of mumchim that have smicha in order to be a proper Bezdin. If it's a Bezdin that's only commoners, hedyot, that didn't have smicha, so then they can't pass on damages. So what does that mean? Bezdin, they can't pass on damages? So Rashi says it means a knas. If there'd be a knas over here, some damages you could. Some the regular damages you could pass in Bezdin even if they're not mumchim. But knasas you only could pass in only mumchim, only smuchim have the authority to collect knasas. The Rosh says also that not only knas also will be damages that are not usual, like the Gemara says.
It's an edge.
Yeah, that if the damages that are not usual, like a man, other mazik is not usual. Behema mazik is usual. Other mazik is not usual. So then you're not allowed to. You're not allowed. Bezdin is not authorized to collect.
What's up? If someone breaks someone's window, he doesn't have to pay for it.
I think so. He has to pay for it, but Bezdin doesn't force it. Bezdin is not
So there's
authorized.
no DU name on things like that.
On damages of that done by a person.
Okay.
As far as Adam the Mazik Adam and Adam the Mazik Shah. I think that's what it says over there. The people are not damagers. It's not dark or lahazik. Adam dark or lahazik, like the Gemara said before.
Not positive if window. Because you didn't devalue the price of the house.
Could be the house is worth even more than
Worth the same amount.
No, if someone comes to see the house, when the window broken, it's gonna right away make the house worth less, not only $50 less, you make the house worth a lot less.
Then how many broken windows there?
So many?
That's how many broken windows there.
So that's the Gemara's answer. What does it mean? Prata bezin ediltus. B'fnei bezin means it has to be a bezin of mumchim. But if it said yotim, they don't have smicha, so that's not a good bezin. Rashi says for knas, by things that are considered a knas, and the Rosh says also things that are not shchiach, no chasam kiss. Those things bezin also is not authorized to pass only if they have smicha. The next Mishnah was about al pi edim, that you have to have edim in order to testify how much damage there was. What does the Gemara do with that? Prata moed b'knas v'yachach bo edim. That if he was moed, he admitted on his own without edim. He admitted, so then he doesn't have to pay. Of course, if it's not a knas, you do have to pay. A person says, my shore damaged, my shore ate, so then it's not considered a knas. And moed mamon is for shor chayiv. Moed b'knas is pater. How about moed b'knas and then edim come? That's the question. Moed b'knas and then edim did come. If it's only moed b'knas, it's not enough to be mechayiv. But now we have edim also. So we say, okay, we don't have to make you pay because of your hodah, because of your admittance. But we have edim now. But he says, no, I didn't only not have to pay. I got a p'tor. I got a made the moed b'knas got a p'tor. That's going to be the question over here. Moed b'knas v'yachkach bo edim. So the Gemara says, if you say this pshat, that only with edim, that means if you're moed b'knas v'yachkach bo edim, pater, that once, I'll pay edim. Only if edim came first. But if you were moed b'knas first, then you're going to be pater. That was the Mishnah saying. The Mishnah is going to say, I'll pay edim, only if edim came right away. But if edim didn't come right away, and you were moed before the edim came, so then you pater. But that's not so. That's what the Mishnah would mean. But it's not simple because some say not like that. Hanicha. Hanicha mandama moed b'knas v'yachach bo edim pater. There is such a mandama that says that once you're moed, you pater even if edim come. Other mandama moed b'knas v'yachach bo edim chayiv ma'ikal meima. There is a mandama that argues and says that even though your hodah doesn't mechayiv you, doesn't obligate you, but does make you pater, and if edim will come eventually, so you do have to pay because of the testimony of the edim. So what does the Mishnah mean to say al pi edim? I could say that it means, but the mice you have to have edim. But I don't see the kasha of the Gemara too much. It needs explanation because you only chayiv because of the edim. The hodah alone is not enough to be mechayiv you. But the Gemara doesn't accept that. Al pi edim would be mashma that only if the edim came first. But if the hodah came first, then you pater even if edim came. But some don't hold like that. So if you don't hold like that, so how could the Mishnah? What does the Mishnah mean to say al pi edim? The answer is you're right. There's no chiddush in the words al pi edim. Sefer strichale means we did in the Mishnah over here. It was when I made the how many halachas there are. Shum kesef, that's one. Shova kesef, another one. Bifnei bezin is another one. The next one, the Gemara first thought that you also put a period over there. Al pi edim is a chiddush. The fact you have to have edim. What does that mean? That if you moed b'knas you pater even if edim came later on. But the Gemara says some don't hold it. Some hold that al pi edim you're going to be chayiv even if you're moda. So then the Gemara is going to say you're right. Then it's not a thing. It's the middle of a sentence. That doesn't mean anything yet. It goes one sentence. It's just telling you that you have to what kind of edim you have to have.
What's the moed b'knas?
Moed b'knas means that let's say a knas. What's the case of a knas? Shloshim kefil.
I thought when somebody stole.
When somebody stole, so you have to pay back what he stole. That's not a knas, but the double. That'll be a case of a knas. Or dalet behei if you stole it. He came to Bezdin. He came to Bezdin and he said that this is what happened. So Bezdin says only pay for the principal, don't pay the double.
Yeah. So then what would Adam?
Now how about Adam? Then Adam came running into Bezdin and said he stole.
After he already said that's what he mowed that he's.
So that's the question. That's machlokes. If the Adam could be mechayiv him now, it's true. If no Adam comes,
that's the point is that he's doing tshuva.
Let's do a tshuva. The tshuva is a good thing, but it doesn't not a reason that it should be pater. Moed b'knas pater is not because he's doing tshuva. Moed b'mammon also. How about not knas?
He's doing it to get out of the cave.
It could
He
be
sees them coming, so he says.
whatever reason. It doesn't make a difference here. His motivation. That's not the reason why he's pater or chayiv. There's a halacha that moment you have to pay, knas you have to pay if edim come, and if you come on your own, the Torah doesn't obligate him to pay penalties if he's doing it on his own. Why? We can talk about it. Now the question is what if edim come? If he's only by his own, then everybody agrees you don't pay knas if it's on your own admittance. But what if edim came afterwards? If edim came first, then for sure he has to pay, even though he says you're right.
It's a bit of knas.
Yes, but knas.
Yeah.
But if a knas, only a knas, only his admittance alone is not enough to be mechayiv in knas. But is it enough to give him a ptor that even if Eidim come later on, that's a machlokes. Some hold that you potter as long as you're a moda, but when Eidim come,
What's the score?
I don't know what the svar is. A moda b'knas is potter either.
We want people to admit that they did wrong, so.
You already had that.
What is it? What is it going to help that?
That if you don't admit it and we find out that you did it, you're gonna have to pay double, so it's worth your while to admit it if you really did it, so that you don't have to pay double. But if you know that even if you admit it, you may have to pay double, then why would you want to admit it?
You don't know.
That's what I would
Okay,
think.
so I don't know that. I don't know that the reason moda b'knas is potter is in order to encourage him to admit it. I don't know if that's the reason. Your premise. I'm not sure if that's so. I'm not asking any conscious. I'm just saying I'm not sure if that's the reason. If that were the reason, so then you say that it wouldn't help. It wouldn't be an encouragement if he's going to have to pay anyway if the Eidim come. We didn't gain anything by being moda. I don't know if that's the reason. So there's machlokes. Maybe that's going to be telling this machlokes. Some say yes, some say not.
I never
So
heard of the side, he's tied anyway. I know.
If it became.
If Aiden came, yeah, but he's tied anyway, you're saying it's just a.
it says yes on page
zero or something.
74b. Come on, $9 with base 74b. That's what the sukkah is going to be. So we have time,
Yeah,
but
cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
Don't go away. So the Gemara says how to be the mission will be dependent on this machlokes. If you hold that moed b'knas v'achach v'edim is potter, say the mission al pi edim is a chiddush that the only chayiv with edim if you moed the first, so then you're potter. But that's not so simple. Some hold on like that. So according to the others, you have to read it as one sentence. Al pi edim b'nei chom b'nei bris. That there's no chiddush in the fact of edim. That's not a chiddush. That's not true because sometimes you could be moed, you could be chayiv even if you were moed the first. But say if it's tzrichale, the rest of the mission, the rest of the sentence is necessary. What kind of edim? Means the edim that I got to testify that you high for damages. It's only if they're free in the covenant that they're Jews, free Jews. And the Gemara explains, this is you could put all this ready explanation over here. That Bnei Chorim is coming to say that they are not avodim, they're free men, and Bnei Bris is coming to say that they are not, that they're Jews. Bnei so Goy's testimony is nothing, and Ebed's testimony is nothing. And we know the whole Torah is like that. We know that Goyim and Avodim are not good testimony. I think somebody was trying to say that here's a chiddush because most of the damages happen in the field, and they don't happen where there are going to be kosher Edim. It's going to be in a place where there are Avodim, or maybe Goyim. So you might think that that's more reason to trust the Goyim and the Edim and the Avodim. And that's why
would you trust them?
I think somebody says that since the damages don't happen in town, damage with the animals and all this stuff, it happens in the field mostly. So you might think that it's not going to be available to have kosher Edim. So maybe the Torah is leaning to rely on Sakan Edim also. So it says no. Avodim are not good Edim, and Goyim are not good Edim. And there's a chiddush between those two themselves. It's tzricha. It's necessary to say both of these things. One is bigger chiddush than the other. Yesh min an eved mishum dein lo yachas. Avol noch goy. Yesh lo yachas. That if only said that Avodim are posted, you might think that it goes better because Eved doesn't have any connection. It's not considered what's the word, lineage or connection to his
There's no lineage to that.
to his father or mother. He's not considered
Or
he's-
child.
what
Or child.
or a child.
Oh, has no yachas, I see.
So therefore, I don't know what has to do with
There is a boy
Edom,
who
but a guy does
child,
that you
yes.
do say the person does talk about Suffer
Well,
where it
that
shows.
makes him more responsible.
I don't know. Yeah. You're saying of shot. It's okay. It's good.
Family's
Family.
important,
So,
even for a goy.
so therefore, since he has a family, since he's a family man,
Yeah.
so therefore his testimony is worth more, maybe. Maybe a guy's habit is better than a guy because he is chayv in mitzvahs. A guy doesn't have mitzvahs. A guy has 7 mitzvahs, but habit has all the mitzvahs that a woman is chayv and all the mitzvahs that are losa say or mitzvahs to say she has los my grandma. That's why it's necessary to say both kedushin. Neither of them are good for an edish. You have to have kosher edim.
The fact that he has some mitzvahs.
Might make him more kosher, and therefore his testimony is
Because
more
he's used to, because of those mitzvahs,
purified him to a certain amount.
have an impact.
And the next part of the Mishnah said, "Hanashim b'chlal hanezek." The women are included in damages, which Moshe said means if they damage,
So just
the damage, or they got damaged.
was to be an Evid or he was just a goy?
Who?
Somebody, Rabbi Gamliel,
He had Evan.
that was an Evid.
Tavi. Yeah, he was Evan.
Was an Evid, that's why he
Evid
had
Canaan.
mitzvahs.
Right. But
He was
that
an Evid who was a goy, wasn't he?
every Evan is
Every Evid is a goy.
until made an Evan. Then he has Mila and Tevila L'Shem Abdus. Or if he was born to
If you say goy and he's not an Evid, then it doesn't make sense. And if he's just an Evid,
right, like in the morning, we say Shlo Sani Goy, Shlo Sani
well,
Ovid.
once he's an Evid, then he has no Yafis anymore. He did it
Right.
until he was an Evid.
Good.
Okay. So what we're saying?
He said, usually we talk about an Evid, it doesn't have Yachid. When an Evid gives birth, so the son is not Mityaches to him. He's saying that also when he became an Evid, he had a father, the Goyish father. Now that he became an Evid, it's like a ger. He's not called the Yachas. I never thought of that. That's interesting. That if he had a Goyish father and he did have a Yachas to him, so now that he became an Evid, so now he loses that Yachas. I never thought of that. Usually we talk about that Evid has children, so they're not considered his children. We don't have a yichus between the shifcha and her son. They're not related. But you're saying that
No, that's good. I think that makes more sense.
yeah, but you're saying what about a case where they were
The
good?
child might want a responsibility.
But what we're saying once he was a goy, first he was a goy, and then he became an eved. Is he going to lose his yachas to his goyish father? I don't know. Nice question. I think. Right?
Is liar, so it's the same thing.
He's not a ger. That was an eved. But he's gonna even that he's gonna lose his yachas to his biological father. He's saying that a ger is like that a goy that became a ger, so he doesn't have yachas to that. He's gonna have yachas to his children, but he's not gonna have yachas to his. Could be. We're not immediately. How do you know? So the Gemara is going to bring 3 psukim to show that women are like men in certain aspects, and we're going to figure out which one we need over here. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav, V'chein Tana D'Rabbi Shmuel, Amar Krua, Ish O Isha. The Gemara doesn't ask over here what does it mean. The Gemara knows what it means. Like Moshe said, either this way or that way, that they're included
So
in.
Isha is a pasuk.
Right, so it's a pasuk. Isha O Isha Ki Asum Mikol Chatos. Hashem, Hashem lo Seyasana. A man or woman that do any of the sins, the chayv a korban.
Uh-huh.
We'll look on which side should we look, the right or the left? You always get it wrong. Every time.
I don't know, when you was sound like.
Because you don't see the whole, it's not
Okay.
the same for every, alphabet, it's the same for every things.
They want to make it more interesting, basically.
Isha או אישה, כי יעשו מכוח חטא האדם לבוא מעל בהשם והשמוע נפש ההיא, they're being a korban. So it's talking about a korban that a man or woman bring, and it says a woman also, a woman brings a korban. The next pasuk is going to be
How did she doesn't, I thought a woman doesn't own any property.
so maybe her husband will bring her korban. Could be husband obligated to bring her korbanos. Or it could be that she's not married, that she has money.
Okay.
Then the pasuk, we'll see in a second, let's see the second already here. That she's chayv a korban. That the chayv and all the mishpatim, beginning of Parshas Mishpatim, these are all of the halachas of the damages that people are chayv in. So it says lifneihem. Who's lifneihem? The whole Am Yisrael, men and women. So women are also included in this pasuk.
Lifneihem means everybody.
Before them, yeah, but it includes everybody. And then it says also, is talking about a gore, an ox that gored and killed. So it says if he killed a man or a woman. So it's going to be 3 psukim that say that women are also included. He's talking about being a korban. He's talking about chayv and the mitzvahs of damages. And here it's if the woman was killed by an ox. So the ox, the owner of the ox has the same obligation as if it was a man or a woman. So the Gemara starts psukim. So it says Perish even a isha, isha. As far as punishments, like here, they have to bring a korban. So the Torah equated a woman to a man. That was one drasha. The Rabbi Elazar Tana, the yeshiva of Elazar said over a brisa. That's the pasuk of Lifneihem. Again, sorry.
First one,
Dinim Shabbat. Yes.
these are all talking about Nizikin.
So the first one was not. The first one's talking about being a korban.
Why is that? Because, that's not damage.
It's not damage. It's about being a korban. Someone did not very after being a korban.
Within the Avera.
And that's not our subject so much. This pasuk says
I see.
lefneihem. That's going to be the pasuk that the chayi for damages. It's
So
hard. The hard
that's better for us, isn't it?
Yeah. The hard is talking about that they damaged the damager, and say that the woman also. I think it means the Chaim says over here that the chayi for damaging. I think it's because the vishalish all din and Shabbat as far as all kind of laws between man and a fellow man, they also chayiv just like men. The way and the third rush over here, the way Chizkiah, Rabbi Yossi, Galili, Tan, they saw Rabbi Brisa, Amakra, Behemis, Ish, Orisha. That was the third pasuk about a gore, a shar, ox, goring. And it says that if he killed a man or a woman. That's the third pasuk where you see that women are like men. Ishva, Hakasav, Isha, Ish, Lachol, Nisa, all deaths.
They got damaged. No,
They got damaged, right? They got killed, right? Killed. And
the
Misa,
second one was damaging. And this one was being damaged.
maybe, and he's not only damaged, he's getting killed. Okay.
Getting
So I'm
killed.
saying, and misos means death, not death penalties. It means death that they were killed. If they were killed, so no difference if it was a man or a woman. And the Gemara finished all three drushes, and now, as always, the Gemara is going to ask what they have to have all three. It seems that you wouldn't be able to know one from the other. They're all right. In order to know these laws. Maybe the first case of a korban that Torah had Rahmanas on her, that she also should have an opportunity to get a kapara, so she could be a korban also. But maybe as far as the laws of damages, maybe ish, the bar masa matan in ishallah, maybe only men that are in the business world, but women are not in the business world. So it's not. The men have more to do with each other. There's more interaction between men. So the Torah made all the laws of monetary laws all between men. But women, they're in the kitchen. They're not in the workforce, so maybe the Torah didn't make the laws of monetary laws for them.
Yeah, that first pasuk we logically wouldn't come up.
We wouldn't know the second
We
pasuk,
logically
right?
come up with it, but they wouldn't.
Right, and the opposite. If we say the case that there are chayv damages and monetary laws, you might think over there we have to make them. It's hard to make them chayv in monetary laws in order she should be able to live. She should be able to make a living. And Rashi explains because if she's going to be parted from all the monetary laws, people are going to stay away from her. They're not going to want to do business with her because she's not going to be obligated in the obligations he could get when he's dealing with a man. So in order to give her ability to be able to deal with people in order to get money, so the Torah says she is responsible. But kapara, as far as bringing a korban, so maybe only people that are men that are more in the parsha of mitzvahs. He's a bar mitzvah, and a woman is not a bas mitzvah. So the terminology is not ringing with us because we have a bar mitzvah and a bas mitzvah. But here the Gemara says a man is a bar mitzvah and a woman is not a bas mitzvah. So you have to explain what that means exactly. That women are not called benos mitzvah, even though they're probably 12 years old, they're chayv mitzvahs, but they're not called the bas mitzvah. What the pshat is, I don't know exactly. That men are more in the parsha of mitzvahs. You can say because the Oskol says because they're chayv more mitzvahs. Some will say that it's not enough. You have to have better pshat. Why women are not called benos mitzvah? They're not called the bas mitzvah.
Maybe does it take the Torah to do mitzvahs?
But they have to learn whatever they have to know for the mitzvahs. That kind of Torah they do have to learn.
Men have to more.
Okay, but that called.
They have to learn.
But would it call that a bar mitzvah and a bas mitzvah? I don't know. So the Gemara says you wouldn't know one from the other. If you just know that they are they're in the parsha of monetary laws, you wouldn't know that they need a kapara.
Well, that just means the best. They're not yachasi to men. They're much less.
Because they have less mitzvahs. Okay, less. Not that they're not a bas mitzvah. They're less mitzvahs. Less. Okay, that's what the Archwell said.
So what's wrong with that? Which is not no mean to say you can't learn out women from men because
the words. That's the words. They call her bar mitzvah and a bas mitzvah. She's not a bas mitzvah. I would say she's not having as many mitzvahs. Ribul and mitzvahs. The word that's about kainim. It says ribul and mitzvahs. So okay, men, a ribul and mitzvahs, more than women. But to say that he's a bar mitzvah, she's not a bas mitzvah. Yes, I once heard about a drush of a bar mitzvah that the women are not bas mitzvah. Whatever, I know, like that's say exactly Gemara. What? That was the question. How come they're called not a bas mitzvah? Yes, min and hani tarti yacham mishum kapar bacham mishum chayusa. Aval Indian ketala ish the bar. What's that word? Ish devar mitzvah l'shalim kofer, ish shalo. You might think that the third one, if a shor killed a woman, is he chayiv kofer. So you might think that even the first two, one is for chayiv korban, one is because it's just for able to live and make business.
She gets kapora when she does in the Veda.
Right, and she also has to have monetary laws, and other people should be willing to do business with her. But if she got killed, maybe also only a man will pay kofer for because he's a bar mitzvah. But a woman that's not a bas mitzvah, maybe not. Maybe there's no din of paying kofer. And the opposite way, Yashmina kofer, even the shama. Maybe the ox killed, loss of a life. Man, woman, no difference. Has to pay for the loss of a life. Maybe other things that don't have to do with the loss of a life, like being a korban or monetary laws, you might think that women are not included. Tzricha, so you have to have both groups looking.
So this last part was if you only learned the third one.
Right. That's
How
kofer.
did they put the third one with the other, just as we can figure that out for ourselves?
How does it go? First, it says if it would say one, you wouldn't know two. If it would say two, you wouldn't know one. If it would say one and two, you wouldn't know three. If it would say three, you wouldn't know one and two.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I didn't have to say if you knew 3 and 1. You would know 2.
What should it say? If it would say 3 and 1.
3 and 2. You don't have. Why didn't they have to go?
Yeah, put it's probably figure if you have enough information to do it yourself. Maybe.
Okay.
So we finished. Now, after everything's over, which one is the one we're looking for? The question, so it means if they damage or they get damaged, it could be the second one. The second one is the one we're looking for. Name is both ways. That in the partial of damages, both ways. Before I said it means that they're damaging, but it could be these are the laws you're supposed to take care of. Maybe it means both ways. The woman, and I'm saying that 2 alone is what we're looking for.
2 alone was the one where.
And that means both ways, that they have to be chayiv if they do something wrong, and that they are
Paid
if they get damaged. Maybe that's also close to use. They should be able to get paid for the damages that are incurred upon them.
Oh.
I'm not sure. Or maybe the Gemara means you need the third one also. That's damages that they were killed. And now the Gemara continues. We put this all in parentheses. You put all this in parentheses if you like. That was the tzricha of why you have to have all 3 sections. And back to the Mishnah. Anizik, mazik, v'tashlumin. That's interesting. Everything's interesting. What does it mean? Anizik, mazik, v'tashlumin. You need a yellow one over here. Anizik, mazik, v'tashlumin. Which means that the mazik, of course the mazik is past the pay. The nizik also is in the payment. Somehow the words are lending itself to mean that the nizik also partakes in the payment, which means he is also going to be tolerating what? Losing out from the payment. Part of the payment is on him. What does that mean? So now comes the famous machlokes in Bava Kamma. Itmar palganiska, rapapa amamamon, rapuna beda vishuama kanasa. When a tam, the first 3 times pays chatzi nezek, is it considered mamona or is it considered kanasa? Is it considered a penalty? Or it's considered that he really should pay, he really owes the money. Chatzi nezek. All the nezek shalom, there's no question. You're paying it because you're damaged. And that's the paying for the damage that you did. But it's a possibility to say that by chatzi nezek, it's only a knas. The Gemara explains itself. Papa amma mamona, we'll see later when I get back into our Mishnah. Papa amma mamona, he holds that most oxen are not considered guarded. Means that there's a big shot. Everybody should know that ox gores. It's not like, wow, ox gored. It's normal that ox gores. So everybody should be watching their shore. Even if it's a never offense, it's a tame Bessie, like it's
So
you have to watch it because they
You
are.
have to watch it, and if it damages, it's money you're paying.
Oh, right. And Uvdinu Debar he says a little bit longer, but he guess what he said. Uvdinu Debar Kule really should pay the whole damages because you're irresponsible. You should have known you have to watch your ox, and you didn't. You should pay for the whole damage. But the Torah had Rahmanas on him for the first 3 offenses because he wasn't yet used to doing it. The word ayayid, I'm not sure what it means. It means he wasn't warned. Maybe that's what muad, Lashon of muad is ayayid. He wasn't yet warned enough. So after 3 offenses, so then he has to pay what he should. But the first 3 times, the Torah is lenient on him that he doesn't have to pay what he should. He should. He was irresponsible. He didn't watch his shore. That was our Papa's understanding. It's only a penalty. It means really you shouldn't have to pay anything. Because most shvarim, as far as the farmers go, they are assumed that the shor doesn't ox. They're mostly tame and they're not expected to go. When they go, it's a chiddush. They're not expected to go, and therefore most people don't. And now you're really not responsible to watch a shor that it shouldn't go because it's not expected to.
Shira means is what.
Right, it's automatically watched. It's naturally watched, naturally tame,
Truly safe.
naturally safe. The dinu the low sham klal. We shouldn't have to pay it all because it's a big chiddush that it go. I didn't have to expect that it should go. I have to go around watching my ox.
Mhm.
But the Torah penalized him in order that he should watch it. The Torah made a special precaution: watch your shore, even though it's not expected to go. But that's a knas. The Torah made a knas to pay what he doesn't really minadin shouldn't pay. So machlokas we just brought in the machlokas, and now we're going to open up our Mishnah to see if there's a rai from our Mishnah, and that's the reason why we brought it in. How come we brought it in over here? We're not holding by the din of we brought it in because we thought that this is going to affect the Mishnah of a Nisik Lamazik with Tashlumin. Now the Gemara starts. After that, Akdama, the Gemara starts with our Mishnah. Knan. Nisik Lamazik with Tashlumin. Our Mishnah says these words that the Nisik and the Mazik, both, and the Nisik is also included in the payment. He's also suffering part of the payment. Now, why is that? If you hold that really he's supposed to pay the whole thing, so the Nisik is losing out.
He's losing out. So
Because this really should be paid the whole damage.
Payment should have gone
Right.
The term was lenient. So
And the fact that he only gets half, that's good. And the fact that he's only getting half, that's called that he's losing out. And that's Shana Mishnah. The Gemara is happy with Shana Mishnah according to Palganiska Mamona. But Ella, the Mandam Palganiska Knasa, Hashta the Lavdi De Shakil, but Tashlumin Isay. According to the Mandam that says they really shouldn't pay anything. So when he gets Chasinesik, he should be very happy. Really like a bolt of lightning came that it wasn't expected, and nobody should pay him anything. He shouldn't be reimbursed at all. And now the Torah is giving him half damages. Really, why is the Torah giving it to him? Because we want to make sure that the mazik should watch his shore. But really, he's getting a present.
there's
So
there's no testament.
there's no touching at all. He's gonna. So is he suffering anything? Well, he's getting a bonus, and he's considered suffering. So what's Pshat the Mishnah? Palganiska, if you hold mazik p'tishlumin, if you hold Palganiska knasa. So in other words, the Gemara says, I know pshat in his anazik mazik v'tashlumin. If you say palganiska mamona, so I'll just write that. Let's make that'll be the pshat. Then where do you see palganiska mamona is the pshat? Where's that?
Maybe this.
Well, say it's the town, right? You're right. That according, I didn't say that. That according to Leviak's pointing out that the pshat, the nizik mazik v'tashlumin is only by a town, not by bor, mava, heber, only by a shore, not by shein regel, only by Karen town. By Karen town, we'll have a pshat. Why the nizik is also? Oh no, I said wrong. Nizik only by Karen. You're right. But everything else he pays full damages. So the nizik doesn't. Yeah, you're right. That by regular you pay full damages, so the nizik doesn't suffer anything. He gets back full payment. But when he only gets half, if you hold palganiska mamona, so he's suffering a loss.
Yeah, so that works well.
So what should we underline over here?
I know which one is it. One's rough papa and one's rough.
Papa.
Rough papa.
Papa was the one who said mamona. Right, he was good. And that's it over here. Pishloma Laman Da'ama Palganiska Mamona. Right, he was good. So we'll make him, that's the Pshat Mishnah. Palganiska Mamona. So that's why the Nizik is partaking in the loss. But according to Rav Hunbeit, if you're sure that it's a knas, so then we have to have no Pshat in the Mishnah. We have a Pshat that nothing to do with the time anymore. Deterioration of the veil means that we learned before. Means that the mazik only has to pay the difference between the live shore and the dead shore. He doesn't have to pay the whole thing and take home the nevela like the pashup pshat. Chazal say that it means he only pays the difference, and the nevela belongs to the nizik. And then what's the difference? He can pay with the nevela anyway. So the Gemara says if it starts deteriorating, that's the nizik's loss. So that's what the nizik is partaking in the payment also. That the nevela, he keeps the nevela, and the mazik only has to pay the difference. And if the nevela deteriorates, it's his loss. So we have a pshat already. We find everybody two pshatim in the Mishnah. If you hold palganiska mamona, the fact that chatzi nezik he loses. If you hold palganiska knasa, that's not the loss. The loss is going to be the chas nevela if it deteriorates after the damages. But the Gemara said we had that already. Chas nevela, tanalei ratio, we had already right to that. That we don't have together. Let's just get this smaller.
Was it in Mishnah?
Like it explains on Tashlumei Nezek. That's the mission we had before. Tashlumei Nezek. And the Gemara said, that was the mission before, and it seems the word Tashlume instead of Chafti Benisko, Lokatani Chafti with Tashlume Nisko, use the word Tashlume. And the Gemara made a drash over there that it means not payment, it means the completion. And what does it mean to complete? He only has to pay the completion of the damages, which means how the difference between the live show and the dead show. He doesn't have to pay for the dead show. So what did it say over there? The bottom of the Nevela, that the Mazik doesn't have to pay for the Nevela. And the Nizik keeps it. And over there it said what's the difference? Because if it's going to get deteriorated, it's the Nizik's loss. So we had it already. The answer is you have two Mishnayos. It's true. You have two Mishnayos to tell you that the Nizik gets the Nevela. But the reason why I have to say 2 times is to tell you that no difference at Tam or Muad. In both cases, the Nizik gets the Nevela. And again, the Gemara says true.
That's always the case. The music always gets in the baby.
Right. And why would you think differently?
I mean, why are you bothering me? Your stupid cow came and gored my whatever. Get your cow and tell me what you owe me. So for my out. Why is he troubled by this extra trouble? He didn't invite.
The more wants to know the difference between a tam and a muad. If you know the halacha is that the nizik keeps the nevela, and the mazik only has to pay the difference, why is there chiddush a tam and a muad? If you know one, you know the other one also. That's what the Gemara is working on now. With Shmicha, and the first white line is to tell you that even if I tell you that you don't have to pay for the nevela by a tam, you wouldn't know by muad. By muad, you wouldn't know by a tam. And that's these next 2 lines. With Shmicha, you might think that this leniency that the mazik doesn't have to pay for the nevela is only a tam because the first, second, third offense. But if it's already a muad, so maybe you should pay for the nevela also. We should machmer the mazik more. Yashmin and muad, we should become shalom kulei. You might think when a muad is paying for the whole thing, so then we'll lenient these things, paying for the whole thing. So be lenient on him and the whole difference, the whole balance. But the tam's only paying half, so let him pay half of the whole thing. Half of the whole thing means take the show was the live show was 1,000 shekel, and the veil is 200 shekel. So you might think you have to pay half damages. Don't say how much did I damage? Only 800. 1,000 minus 200. How damage is 800? Now half of that is only 400. No, don't be so lenient on it because since he's going to getting a discount, he's getting a discount of chatzi. So maybe give him chatzi of the whole thing. The damage was 1,000. And give him 500. Kamash malam that you do that you don't cheshbon the vela. In any case, no difference in time more or more. You don't cheshbon it because the nizik keeps. Period. So we got off the subject. It's really our subject is to help the Mishnah, and that's the Mishnah Nizik Mazik B'Tashlumin, which I think is the end of the Mishnah. We finished the Mishnah already, and then we'll go back to today, beginning of today, the Mishnah. That was the end of the Mishnah, and this so we did the whole Mishnah. But now the Gemara, in order to explain this last part of the Mishnah, Nizik Mazik B'Tashlumin, the Gemara did go into the sugya of Nizik about Palganiska Knas, Palganiska Mamona. So the Gemara continues with it just because we're here already. You got it. And according to Maman Dama, that was the Mishnah, that the Nizik is also suffering because Palganiska Mamona. But once you mention it, the Gemara is going to continue. I didn't prepare further, but because it is, the Gemara is going to continue into the sugya of Palganiska, who's right, or Palganiska Palganiska Knasa, Palganiska Mamona. So we're going to continue, but it's not really our sugya now. Now it's a bonus. We're going on the cruise. Once we went on to the subject to find out Pshat and Mishnah, so now we'll finish off the sugya. So to be continued, we're up to Tashma, third white line. Thank you. We're in the middle of the sugya of Palganiska Knasa, Palganiska Mamona.
What time is the Chanukah? It's like this.
Here's 440.
440.
440.
440.
440.
Then he said that means you light at 440.
440.